Welcome to Dare, the show for innovators, entrepreneurs, and startup leaders who dare to shape the future. Your hosts today are Ned Hayes and Cecilia Mariani. Dare is brought to you by Darwaf, the superpower tech team that can make your vision a reality. The Dare podcast is excited to welcome Caleb Talley to the podcast. He's the executive director of the Startup Junkie Foundation. He joined the team in 2019 as marketing and events director, and he has a background working with startups and also working in the journalism world with the Times Herald and with a number of other places where he was also influential with magazines, and he created entrepreneurial television programs. So welcome, Caleb.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate the intro, and I'm excited to be on the show today.
Fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit first about what is Startup Junkie?
So Startup Junkie is an organization based in Northwest Arkansas. We are a mission-driven nonprofit with the goal of improving life through entrepreneurship. So we kind of at our core provide one-on-one consulting for anyone with an idea up to X number in revenue. And then we host a great deal of events tailored specifically for entrepreneurs, whether they're educational events, motivational events. So at our core, we are an ESO, entrepreneurial support organization. And so basically what that means is we try to lower the barriers to entrepreneurship for anybody that wants to start a business, grow a business, scale a business. And as a part of that, we also facilitate a number of programs that are a little more specifically designed to help different groups of entrepreneurs access capital, connect with enterprise customers, that sort of thing.
Oh, that's fantastic. So really nurturing a startup ecosystem there.
That's the idea. So we are third-party funded, so everything we do is completely free to the entrepreneurs we serve. And we serve all entrepreneurs. Like I said, idea stage and up. The idea is, if we give people the opportunity to start a business, kind of give them guardrails, help them along the way, help them avoid some of the pitfalls, but also give them community to build in and around, they might be more successful. If they're successful, then there are new jobs within our, community, the types of jobs that increase the quality of life individuals have within a community, and everyone succeeds.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I think the name came about through Jeff, who was the founder, who actually wrote a book called Creating Startup Junkies, right?
He did. Yeah, he did. And it's a great book. I actually had the opportunity to edit that book, putting some of my past journalistic and editing skills to work again. So great playbook. The book is for communities in what some folks might call flyover parts of the country that aren't necessarily known for being hubs of entrepreneurial activity or innovation. Because I think a lot of folks outside of the coast and kind of your larger hubs of innovation, they don't necessarily look at Arkansas that way. They don't see Arkansas as a beacon of innovation and technology and entrepreneurship. So it's kind of a playbook for folks within those communities who are interested in kind of seeding some of that, going to help them nurture an ecosystem.
Well, that's really great to hear. Could you pitch us on Arkansas and pitch us on the region? What's happening there with startups? What's happening there with entrepreneurship?
Absolutely. I would be happy to. I am born and raised Arkansas, so it comes easy to, sing the praises of my home state, as every state kind of has its, the various issues. We've got a lot of things going for us that I think most people probably wouldn't know about. So in our corner of the state, in Northwest Arkansas, most people are familiar with Walmart, retail giant, Fortune 1. It is headquartered here in Northwest Arkansas, right up the road. We also have Tyson Foods, and J.B. Hunt, which is one of the largest trucking logistics companies in the country. And so I think some of that entrepreneurial spirit is ingrained generationally into the region because of those entrepreneurs that came before us. But as a result, you've got kind of a magnet for talent to the region, folks that are going to work for those enterprises. And you think about also all the vendors that support the giant that is Walmart and all of the things that go into making that operation run. So you have, hundreds of vendors that also call Northwest Arkansas home, at least part-time. So you've got all of this activity from an enterprise and a corporate business standpoint. And then you also have the folks who have, benefited from the wealth that those companies have created. You've got the family foundations. You've got Northwest Arkansas is considered one of the most charitable regions in the country. And so you have all of that also pouring into the community to create, a a community where people want to live. You've got folks kind of, so for example, I say we're third party funded. A great deal of our funding programmatically comes from, for example, the Walton Family Foundation.
Hmm.
So the heirs of Sam Walton through the Walton Family Foundation. So you've got organizations like that that are putting their dollars behind making Northwest Arkansas the kind of place that someone else would want to come and work. As a result, you've got folks that end up coming here and want to start a business. They retire out of one of those enterprises, but also there's a lot of support for the various businesses that are needed to keep the quality of life up. So, you know,
Hmm.
if you want to recruit talent to an enterprise into the region, you need to be able to provide the amenities and the attractions and the opportunities that an individual might have, in another larger city somewhere. So in an effort to do that, there's been a lot of push to bring folks with backgrounds, with culinary backgrounds in the arts, all of those things to the region. And I think the last statistic that I've seen was somewhere in the ballpark of over 30 people a day are moving into the region. There have been various programs that the Northwest Arkansas Council has facilitated. It's kind of like a lobby arm of the region to recruit people to the area. And at one point, they were giving folks $10,000 in a mountain bike to
Wow.
relocate to Northwest Arkansas. So and it's, wasn't specifically designed to go to, just tech talent or C-suite talent or anything like that. They were giving those to entrepreneurs, artists, chefs, you name it. It takes all kinds to make a community vibrant.
Hmm.
But then also consider that we have the University of Arkansas, which is an awesome research institution with great SEC athletics. There's just a lot of things that a lot of ingredients that come together to make Northwest Arkansas a great place to be. But then you add all
Yeah.
that together with the number of people that are here and the general interest in entrepreneurship through the university, through these other programs. We're one of several entrepreneurial support organizations in the region that facilitate, access to resources for entrepreneurs. You kind of get this, hub of activity that has kind of compounded on itself over the last few years.
Yeah. Well, what do entrepreneurs need? I mean, could you give us kind of the top 3 to 5 things that entrepreneurs really need to be successful?
Absolutely. So I'll use an analogy. I like plants, as you might be able to tell. And I always have friends ask, how do you keep plants alive? It's like, well,
Hmm.
they need water, they need sunlight. I think the water and sunlight for an entrepreneur is they need a market, they need customers, of course. And so therefore they need to have a refined product that a customer wants, that they have access to a customer. Access to capital is critically important. So that's, some of our programming is designed to provide capital to entrepreneurs that need that, regardless of where they are on that pipeline. They need talent, access to folks that can help them build out what they're working on. And I think that's kind of some of the primary ingredients there. And that's kind of the role we play too early on, is to be able to kind of help, I think, from the jumping off point of helping them understand whether or not their concept, venture, product, service is something that is viable. And we never tell anybody when they come through the door, that is a crazy idea, or nobody would ever buy that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We send them out to do customer discovery, which is a critical piece of homework that all idea stage entrepreneurs should do, and that we facilitate early on. Send them out to talk to 100 different people
Mm.
that aren't their mom or their aunt or grandma or whoever else that will say, "Yeah, that's wonderful, sweetheart. Like, bless your heart, you're doing a great job." But going out and having those conversations with folks about, whether or not their solution is actually a solution that somebody else would pay for,
Right.
or whether or not it would actually address a problem that real people experience.
So tell us about 1 or 2 successful companies that Startup Junkie has helped.
Well, so we meet with about, I used to say 800 to 1,000 entrepreneurs in a year through one-on-one
Wow.
consulting, and last year we surpassed 2,000 over the course of the year, and we're on pace to do that again this year. So I'm hesitant to call out just one individual company or two, picking between favorite children. But there are definitely some really cool success stories. Some of the more palpable success stories come through our Kiva program that we facilitate in Northwest Arkansas. And Kiva is a micro lending platform, international micro lending platform, but in the United States, it's specifically designed for small businesses and allows folks to contribute to a small business to raise a loan at $25 increments or more. And so we have helped issue over $1 million in capital through those loans as of earlier this year. And so some of those businesses are think mom and pop shop type food truck esque businesses. So those are some of my favorite success stories. So, I mean, I think the very first one we had was a sandwich shop just north of town, and they needed capital for a sign off the highway because people didn't know they were back there. So
Mm-hmm.
they were able to use that capital to buy a sign. They increased business. They actually came back, got another loan. They paid off their loan early, came back, got another one, expanded. And now actually the folks that founded and operated that restaurant are plugged into the entrepreneurial community and are working with organizations that give back to entrepreneurs. So it's kind of very cyclical in regards to the folks that we're able to serve end up, the ones that see the most success end up coming back around to kind of contribute back into that ecosystem too. But there are others. I mean, we do an accelerator program where we bring companies in from all over the country to Northwest Arkansas for an enterprise ready program. And we've had probably a dozen of those companies over the last 5 or 6 years completely relocate to the region as a result of the program.
Oh, that's really fantastic for Arkansas.
It's a great economic development play. Think about, the traditional state and chamber of commerce approach of chasing smokestacks, as they used to call it, of bring factories in that, hire 100 people for 2 more years or whatever else. And I think the concept is, you bring folks in to build the next great business that's sustainable, can scale, and they'll hire people for years to come.
Right. That's much like what the Oregon Entrepreneurs Network, Oregon Venture Fund is doing here in Portland, where we're based. I'm curious, though, does Startup Junkie actually provide funding, or do you just connect to people who would be suitable for funding, or how does that work?
Yeah, we don't provide any of the funding ourselves through our programming. So with the Kiva program specifically, there's a built out kind of platform for facilitating contributions. Think Kickstarter. We're helping them kind of build their campaign, market it, and reach the individuals who would contribute to that. Jeff, our founder, and his network, they've worked within the venture capital scene for quite some time. And so they're working to help, if somebody's is needing to raise actual venture capital, they've got a scalable venture. They're kind of getting plugged into that pipeline of individuals who are able to do that. I will say that's one area that needs some work in Arkansas. And I know everybody says this in any entrepreneurial ecosystem. They could always use more venture capital. But there's not a ton in Arkansas. And that's improving, but that's definitely something that could get better.
Right. Okay. Well, that's true everywhere, as you said. Yeah. So I'm curious, how did you get into the startup world, the entrepreneurial world? I mean, you started as a journalist, right?
I did studied print journalism too, which there might not even be print journalism track at the university anymore, but was in journalism. I like to tell people I'm a recovered journalist, but enjoyed that lifestyle for a while. Actually did newspaper reporting, went on to magazine publishing as well. So was the editor of a business magazine, which covered the entire state of Arkansas. And so I kind of had an inside track on a lot of the activity within the entrepreneurial ecosystem across the state, and had the opportunity to come and kind of from a coverage standpoint, write features and things of that nature about what was happening in Northwest Arkansas specifically. And just got really interested in what was going on. It just seemed exciting. There was a lot of activity, it was sexy, for lack of a better word.
It was exciting.
Activity. It's exciting. Fresh ideas, a lot of just energy around it, heat and energy. And so Startup Junkie actually was looking for a marketing and events director at the time. It, as an organization, was growing and had need of hiring someone full-time to do their marketing. I'd never done marketing before. So I just kind of twisted my resume up a little bit to make, journalism look like marketing experience, and kind of approached it from that angle.
Well, it's all storytelling, right? It's telling a story, whether you're telling it to the general public or you're telling a story about a corporation or an organization like Startup Junkie.
Absolutely. And so that it worked out. They bought it. And so I was able to join the team back in 2019, and may actually be 5 years this month. So joined the team back in 2019 as the marketing and events director. We do about 250 events a year within the community for a team of...
That's a lot.
Wow. It is a lot. And we've got a team of 7 or 8 folks now. At the time, it was 5 or 6. And so it's a high cadence of activity for a relatively small team. So it keeps us on our toes. I mean, we're doing a couple of things a week for sure. Anywhere from, type of coffee meetup type events to full scale workshops, educational events to, we do a big block party-esque event every year downtown with, upwards of 2,000 folks that come through. So it runs the gamut on type of event that we facilitate as well, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. Sounds like you guys really keep busy there.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
we stay very, very busy. So the appetite for activity is high. I like to tell people that, like, the one of the ingredients for a good startup junkie is one, they need to be a Swiss Army knife to be able to, given that we have a
Do
lean
all the
team, be able to
things. Yeah.
do all things. But there also just has to be a general bias towards action
Yeah.
because not a lot of downtime. Everybody's jumping on stuff left and right. And I tell people we're not all things to all people, but we're most things to most people. And we're easy to get to yes when it comes to, an ask for collaborating on an event or hosting this or helping
Yeah.
facilitate that. And so we kind of have become kind of a lighthouse in that regard for folks that want to need some help kind of rolling some sort of event or program out.
Right. Right. Well, that sounds really invigorating. It sounds like you get to work with some really fantastic entrepreneurs too. Can you tell us something cool that happened to you this month working with a startup company?
Yeah. So this month's kind of fresh. We'll say last week,
In the
actually,
last 30 days or so.
yeah, we hosted an event last week called VC Day. And it's kind of part of a series that a firm out of Colorado has started, and they kind of seed those across the country as events. But we hosted one last week in our region, the NWA VC Day. And it was really cool to see the level of interest. I know it's not specific to any one business, but we had a bunch of entrepreneurs that came through. Like I'd mentioned, we're kind of lacking in regards to access to
Yeah.
venture capital, but there was so much interest from VC firms from all over the South. We had folks from Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado that had traveled there for that event. So it was really exciting to see the entrepreneurs excited to get to engage with a lot
Yeah.
of VC firms that they might have otherwise not known that they would have access to otherwise. So that was an invigorating event. So very well attended. We didn't really know what to expect. We prepared for about 50 folks and about 150 showed up. But
Wow.
we had enough beer and wine, which was, I guess, the most important part.
Well, that sounds like a fantastic event. Well, so this might already be implied by what you've told us today, but our final question is always, what do you dare to dream, Caleb? What kind of world do you dare to dream that you are creating?
I dare to dream of a world where anybody that wants to start a business or chase down a dream within entrepreneurship has the ability to do so. I feel like the norm or the anticipation is that, you can't start a business unless you have this much money stored away, or unless you have, these contacts, people like this, powerful people, or, have the team of tech entrepreneurs to help you build what you're building. My dream is that folks that want to start something have the ability to do so because of organizations like ours and others that eliminate those barriers and provide a place where they can connect with others who can help them build what they want to build, and can do so as easy as possible without the
That
restrictions put on them by society, government, that sort of thing.
so you're kind of clearing the path for people to fly.
That's the idea.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Really appreciate your time today, Caleb. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks to our guests today for their great insights on Dare, the podcast for innovators, entrepreneurs, and startup leaders. If you'd like your story to be featured on Dare, just contact us at info@darwaft.com. Dare is brought to you by Darwaft, the tech team that can make your vision a reality.